Yeah. Yeah, man, I do it for the fam. Tryna put food on my table, going ham. PYT says she knows who I am.
Hey guys, what is going on? This is Mike or Geekermon, and welcome back to another Destiny video. So today we are going to be looking at the very best PvP loadout. Now this is a mix of the statistics from Guardian GG along with my personal preference. So I'll talk you through what I like to use, what I like to run, and then what the highest KD options are. Of course, this depends on the game mode that you're playing and what you like to run, so there is no correct answer, but hopefully this will help guide you to getting better at the Sunbreaker. So first things first, getting into the intellect, discipline, and strength, it's really personal preference. I like to max the intellect because I love using the hammer, and then I love the grenades, both the sticky and the incendiary grenades, so I'll move my discipline up quite a bit. And then the melee is good to have, but it's not as vital to me when I'm playing, especially in 6s, so I keep my strength fairly low on this character. As far as exotics go, the #1 exotic for the Sunbreaker is the Twilight Garrison. The mobility of the Twilight Garrison is great. It allows you to navigate around the map. You can Titan skate with it. There's just so many things you can do since there are not a lot of options for exotics as far as the Sunbreaker goes. The other good ones are double grenades from the Armamentarium, Crest of Alpha Lupi if you're playing Trials of Osiris, and then Immolation Fists are good, but since they nerfed the Explosive Pyre, this perk is not as strong as it used to be, so a lot of people just opt for the mobility instead. As far as weapons go, you can run whatever you want. This is kind of the meta right now, along with maybe a high rate of fire pulse rifle, but the Sunbreaker is good, both shotgun and sniper, and even fusion rifle, because it plays just like any other Titan as far as map movement goes. Alright, so before we jump into the subclass, today's featured comment comes from Dicer Chrome, who said, "I love your videos and greetings from Germany." Dicer, thank you for watching all the way from across the globe. It's great to hear from you guys, so if you want to be featured comment of the day, just leave me a comment down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. I love talking to you guys and love hearing from you, and each video I pick out a featured comment to display. Alright, so with that, let's jump into the Sunbreaker subclass. So this is the loadout that I'm currently running in 6s for the Sunbreaker. The grenades, the fusion grenade and the incendiary grenade are both excellent. Those are the top 2 grenades. Not a lot of people use the thermite because it's so directional, because it's so one way. It's just not as powerful as sticking somebody for a one-hit kill or throwing an incendiary and getting a lot of damage on numerous opponents. So choose between these two depending on your play style and you will be good to go. Now for all Titans, I give the same mobility tips. I would say run increased control with your agility all the way down. This allows you to Titan skate most effectively. If you have increased height on or you have your agility too high, you're not going to be flying at a horizontal level. You're going to be floating too high. Your momentum's not going to pick up. And so if you want to Titan skate, the best mobility is to use something like Twilight Garrison. And if you're not using shoulder charge, which you wouldn't for Sunbreaker, then you're going to want to put on increased control. Now for the super perk, this is the one that surprised me the most. When I first started playing, I was all about using Forge Master. I wanted to throw as many hammers as possible, try to get as many ranged kills as possible, but a lot of times the enemies would be right up next to me, especially in smaller game modes where there's zone capture. With that, if you run Sun Charge, you have an incredible shoulder charge-like attack that doesn't require any aiming. If there is an enemy in the vicinity and you hit this, even if they're behind you, you're going to do a 180 and turn around and shoulder charge right at them. So the aim assist on this is amazing. Your enemies, when you kill them, will actually explode and chain damage to other players. So overall, this is a wonderful perk to run. It's one of the less used perks, but it is the highest KD perk because once you figure out how this thing works, you can mow through an entire row of enemies without even throwing a hammer and do just as much damage. Now, I'll have to do a different video on the Scorched Earth build. There is a whole loadout you can run if you want to leave sunspots all over the map, and that will trap your opponents. It's great for zone control, but beyond that, most of the time you're going to go with one of these first 2 options. Now when it comes to the melee, the Sunbreaker doesn't have the best melee options, but it does have Melting Point. I would say that Melting Point is probably the best option, especially if you're playing with teammates, because when you hit an enemy with Melting Point, they're less resistant to damage. This perk will actually leave your enemies burning, they won't recover their health quite as fast, and your teammates can finish them off, allowing you guys to do much better in most of the game modes. So, unselfishly, Melting Point is probably your best option. Thermal Vent goes back to the Sunspot build. So Stroke the Forge is a good option, but by the time you second melee somebody, especially in PvP, it's not really going to matter if they're burning or not, so having an instant cooldown on it doesn't really give you that much of a benefit. Alright, so moving on to the armor, recovery, and agility. I like to max my armor and my recovery and drop the agility all the way down. Now, like I said, you're going to want the best mobility, you're going to want a Titan skate, and with a Titan, you're really going to want to have high armor and high recovery. This allows you to hide behind walls if you're losing a gunfight, get your health back quicker than something like a hunter, and then get back out there into the fight. Now, I personally use Flame Seeker, but you're not going to notice that much tracking with the hammers. It's just nice to have in case your hammer is just a little bit off. It will alter its flight path and go at your enemies, but don't expect this to track like a sticky grenade or something of that type. It just won't. You're usually throwing your hammers not at that far of a range, and most of the time you know exactly where they're going to go right when you let go. Alright, so for the next column, I like to run maximum recovery. You can also put on maximum armor, but this bumps your agility up a little bit, and like I said, I usually try to keep that all the way down as close to 0 as possible. And for the last row, Cauterize has saved me in more situations than I can count. It's just like the perk for the Striker that when you get a melee or a shoulder charge, it starts regening your health. You'll get this, but anything that's brought down by your fire will immediately start recovering your health. This is probably the best option. All of your hammer kills, your sun charge, shoulder charge kills, or any of your melee kills are all going to bring your health back, and also grenade kills. They will all bring your health back right away. So it's good to have in a lot of fights where you toss a nade, you're getting down to red bar health. If the grenade kills somebody, then your health goes right back to full and you can keep going through the fight. Now, Firekeeper is not super helpful unless you're running the Sunspot build. For the most part, you're not going to need a reason to stand on your own flames, but it does provide you a nice overshield while you're using your hammer or after you get any melee kills. Now, Simmering Flames is not used for the most part, but if you do use it, here's what I would do. I would max your discipline and your strength. Don't worry about your intellect, and then once you get your super in a 6's game mode, don't use it, but instead use the Simmering Flames perk to have grenades and melees every 12 seconds. If you're running incendiary grenades or sticky grenades, this can be extremely frustrating to your opponents, having you spam the grenades all the time. So it is kind of a spammy build, but it's another way to build the Sunbreaker. Alright, so hopefully this helped you guys out and will make your PvP game better. If you did enjoy the video, make sure and smash that like button. It means so much to me and it really helps this channel grow. And if you want to see more Destiny content like this, make sure you subscribe to join the Geek Squad. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next Destiny video. Peace. Yeah.